third important provision relates to data localization. You opened with saying that it has been diluted to a certain extent, which I believe that the private players who are anxious about it are going to cheer about. The bill says that sensitive personal data can be transferred outside India, but not without users' consent, and it will have to be stored in India as well. Critical data, interestingly, which has not been defined, can be processed only in India. This can be transferred outside India only with government's permission. Justice Sri Krishna committee had proposed that a copy of all personal data must be kept in India. Rahul, how does this give some sort of relief to the private industry, and also how useful will this be for enforcement agencies? Because as I understand, the purpose of all of this is to give enforcement agency access to this data on an immediate basis, and not have them put in requests to authorities outside India to give them that data.
Yeah, so the purpose for this, and there were many purposes mentioned in the bill, but I think we all read between the lines and articulate the purpose exactly as you said, which is that law enforcement should have access to all data. And particularly in a world where we provide our data to a lot of these global players who, for various reasons, locate the data in one jurisdiction, which is not necessarily India, it becomes a bit of a problem for law enforcement. And so the data localization provision, we think, was largely driven by that requirement. The way it was drafted in Sri Krishna said that all data must be localized, all personal data must be localized. Now it's only sensitive personal data that's required to be mirrored, which means that it can go out of the country, but you must still keep a copy in India. The subset of data that now needs to be kept is actually relatively small. Sensitive personal data covers information about financial history and financial data, and that to just account information, medical information, and various other types of information that, to my mind, would only in very specialized cases be useful to law enforcement. What is now free to go out is things like photographs, location information, chat information that perhaps doesn't cover financial or health conversations and things like that. And so there is in my mind, I think the private players who are dealing with this are obviously a lot happier because now they can design their system such that only some part of the information that they collect and process is mirrored in India, but there's a significant part that can go out. And law enforcement, on the other hand, I would just wonder whether they're thinking, look, we're not going to be able to get the information that we really want. We now have to make do with the sensitive personal information that we have. So, in my mind, I've always said the localization debate and the push for localization is really trying to answer the question the wrong way. The issue should never be about localizing data. It should never be about the location of the data. It should always be about access to data. And so we should focus on getting our law enforcement agencies better access to data, and then focus on the transfer provisions, because around the world, data protection laws have strict restrictions on transfer. In the GDPR, they follow what they call an adequacy test, and they apply very strict and stringent requirements as to which countries and entities can get, to which countries and entities data can be transferred. We instead have said you don't transfer to anyone, and in this current construct, neither one nor the other is likely to be happy.